We'll get this done. I appreciate you taking the time.
No
Uh,
worries.
we'll get this kicking. Everybody, thanks so much for listening. I just want to go into this interview fairly fast. We have a very special guest on, somebody that I'm very happy is going to be leading the Florida Gators women's soccer program. As I've been a fan and went to many camps over there, took a lot of the girls' teams that I coached over there. Nick Zimmerman, he is the new head coach of the Florida Gators women's soccer coach, as I just said, former MLS, NASL, USL pro. You can find more about obviously the team at floridagators.com. UFN Zimmerman on X. That's his strictly his X. And also on Instagram, it's Nick Zimmerman 23. I found out we had a lot in common before we even started the interview that he's originally from Providence, Rhode Island. He grew up where I grew up in Rhode Island. So it's nice to meet a fellow Rhode Islander who is in Florida now, and as I am too as well. So we're following the same route somewhat.
Yeah, and I'm happy our Patriots are back in the Super Bowl.
You
So
ain't kidding, thank God.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you having me. Excited to be on the show and really, really excited for the future.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. Like, you grew up in Rhode Island, moved to Tampa. Obviously, you're coming back home to Florida to coach after
Yep.
a great stint at Mississippi State, and then obviously in Division Two at Columbus State, doing well there. Talk about the homecoming that you've received so far. You brought five girls with you that are really fantastic players. I mean, they were supreme. And if you want to go into that, but just talk a little bit about all the stuff that's going on. It's really exciting.
Yeah, it's been a busy month and a half, 2 months. A lot of people, all the coaches joke, the big three: moving, taking a new job, and having a baby or starting a family, and
Right.
we're deciding to do all three in one moment. So, but no, I mean, incredibly blessed, grateful, extremely humbled to be a part of this incredible institution. It was one of the hardest things for me to do to leave Mississippi State. I've been there the last 7 years, was a part of the success that we had, a lot of firsts for the university in terms of the women's soccer program, if you will. And it was hard to leave. My wife is from here. We planned on being here for quite a while, but when University of Florida came and reached out about interest, it was something for me as someone that grew up in Tampa after moving from Rhode Island. It was a place that I said if they had a men's team, I would have went to University of Florida. And so the homecoming's been incredible. Friends from high school, some friends that I haven't talked to in many many years, reaching out to me and saying how excited they are. So it's been great. The administration has been incredible at University of Florida. The support we've gotten and received already, and just the excitement from really the fan base, the alumni. You talk about a storied history of a program, and Florida is at the top, right? It's the only SEC program to ever win a national championship. So I'm well aware of the expectations that come with this job, but incredibly blessed and incredibly grateful.
We're going to get into that in just a second because you really produced again at Mississippi State, and then bringing five females over that you coached that was superb again. That's proving that you're a great coach. If you got five girls coming over with you that you're bringing that were supreme players, talk about that because that kind of tells somebody that's a fan of the program that has met a lot of the females that played there, Savannah Jordan. This is just going back a ways, 2015, 2016. But regardless of that, I brought a lot of girls over there, and they've seen how the female soccer team is there. But how was that, getting those females that you coached and again over to with you when they had a storied program at Mississippi State that you really brought up?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the hardest things. A huge thank you to the administration at Mississippi State. They allowed me to have the opportunity to speak to the players once the decision was made, and full transparency, it was one of the hardest things. I cried like a little girl, saying goodbye to them because I had recruiting ties and relationships with them. They came to Mississippi State to be a part of the program that we kind of told them about, spoke about in the recruiting process. And once I said my piece, I left the room, and it was really really hard. I wasn't able, and you're not allowed to have any contact with them. Once you leave the program, they have to go into the transfer portal, and so you never know, right? I mean, they
Right.
could have stayed, There was no contact on my end to them saying, hey, come on over. There was none of that. It was more of this was a decision ultimately that I felt was best for my family, but also it got me closer to my family. We're about to have a baby girl here in the next couple days, and it allows my parents to be a part of her life more. I left school or I left home when I was 17 to go play, in college and then play professionally. So I only got a chance to really see them, once or twice a year at tops. And so this gets me not only much closer to them, but they're not getting any younger, and so having that opportunity was great. And then seeing the players go in the portal, and I want this to be very clear. All these players, they were sought out by a number of different institutions, some of the top programs in the country, and so it was going through the recruiting process with them kind of all over. And so it was anything but given. It was anything but a formality. They didn't go into the portal with the do not contact tag. Like this was, when they went in, we reached out as a staff, and majority of them came on a visit. We had to have them all here, and part of this step and this journey, this first chapter, if you will, was a really cool feeling.
So obviously you went to Wharton High School in Tampa, then moved on to James Madison, then the MLS. Talk about how much that on the field experience shapes a coach like you today.
Yeah. So for me, I consider myself like a player's coach. I was fortunate to play at the highest level. I played in every national league you have, in this country. I played at the youth national team, represented your country, and there's no greater honor than to represent your country. But I feel, I was able to play against really, really elite players, and I know how not only they think, but also, the aspirations that they have, and to sit in a room with them and talk to them and their family about the journey that they want to go on. I lived it. I was fortunate to go through that. So helping them navigate, that journey and those moments of adversity, of when you don't start and when you don't play the minutes you want, or when you get hurt. I lived through all that. And so, I'm very honest in the process. I'm very honest in the conversations that we have about, you're going to go through some really good times, and there's going to be some really tough times. And so ultimately for us, it's that we're able to well, I wouldn't say enlightened, but we're able to share our experiences with them. And I think that really resonates with especially the elite of the elite.
Again, Nick Zimmerman here, head coach of the Florida Gators women's soccer team on the program. It is Nick Zimmerman 23 on Instagram, UFN Zimmerman on X. Nick, let's kind of go into a little bit more deeper into the recruiting. We talked about a little bit about the transfer portal and how that's really came about with you coming to Florida. Can you talk a little bit about the recruiting and the development strategies from what you did and the great success at Mississippi State, and how you're going to bring that to Florida? Because obviously Florida's only had 4 coaches. You are the 4th head coach in University of Florida history for the women's soccer program, but they've struggled, especially with the last 2 coaches. We had Becky Burley on quite a few times during her stints at University of Florida, and also with the Orlando Pride. That's obviously a historic time in University of Florida history. But since then, it's been very up and down for the Gators. So how are you going to bring that recruiting and development strategies from Mississippi State, to Florida?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, when you're at the University of Florida, not only is it a storied program for athletics, but also it's an incredible academic institution. And what you're seeing more and more now is these young female student athletes, the education is extremely important, as it should be, right? You're a student athlete, student comes first. So it's finding that blend of players that embody our core values and truly want to be a part of the legacy at the University of Florida. And so we're going to be a staff that's going to develop these players, not just on the field, but off the field. We're going to grow them mentally, physically, spiritually. And ultimately the character piece is the most important, right? No doubt that there's going to be elite players that want to be a part of this program, but it's more of, are they the right fit? Are they embodying these core values that really made University of Florida such a special institution and in a university? And so, we're going to be hard. We're going to challenge them. We're going to develop them. We're going to grow them. But we're also going to be right there to show the empathy and to show the care, and ultimately help navigate them so that when they leave the University of Florida, not only do we get the best out of them on the field, but we also develop them off the field, where no matter what life throws at them, they feel that they're equipped with all the tools necessary to be successful. And as we all know, as you get older, life isn't fair, and it's going to knock you down, and it's going to spit you out. And we're going to continue to develop these players to deal with that kind of adversity. And so when these challenges arise in their life, they can reflect on their time here at the University of Florida and can say, "Oh, I know how to deal with this."
So, Coach, you talked about obviously the introductory press conference at the University of Florida about having that high-powered offense. We saw that at Mississippi State many years that you were there. Talk about how you're going to are you going to change that tactically? Obviously, you have a five woman coming in that have played your style. Maybe that they'll help the girls that are already there mimic their style. How is this all going to be played out? Are those five transfers that played your style, are they the leaders of obviously the females that are already in the program?
Yeah, again, great question. I mean, for us, I joke and we want to change the way the game's played. And what I mean by
Sure.
that is when you look at, vintage Barca under Pep Guardiola and the way that they played, it was total football. And, we want to be a team that wants to dominate the ball. We want to dominate possession. We want to dictate terms. When we don't have it, we want to be a team that presses really, really high. It's going to be a high risk, high reward type system. And, for us, it's, we want to, I always use the phrase die standing rather than live kneeling. Like we're going to be a team that's always going to go for it. We're going to be a team that when the crowds come, they're excited to support. It's going to be a brand of football that's going to be exciting. It's going to be intricate in the movements. And so, as a coach, you continue to evolve. And, one of the greatest things about this is the staff that we have here at the University of Florida is elite in every aspect of it. The coaching staff that we have, Coach Garber, who was at FIU, my associate head coach. He took a program that was historically one of the worst in the country, and in 4 years, not only won the league, won the conference tournament, was coach of the year. He's won everywhere he's gone, and so having someone, by your side that you can bounce ideas off of, that's been as a head coach, that helped me in my early years as a head coach is something that's invaluable. Kerry Hanks, Coach Kerry, was a two-time Herman Mack Trophy winner at Notre Dame. There's not too many people that can say they were the best player in the country two times, right? And playing at the University of Notre Dame, which is, obviously an elite institution. You've got, Coach David that's played overseas. We've got strength and conditioning coach, Coach Caitlin, and Coach Vic with sports science, who is basically a new role that we're creating that models the NWSL and the professional ranks, video analyst. Just the support that we have from top to bottom, we feel is truly elite. And so that's having those staff members along this journey with you by your side gives, you as a head coach so much peace and comfort when maybe you're not there right now, like I'm not, to know that it's going to continue to flow. The alignment piece is massive. And so right now for us, it's about understanding what our standards and our expectations are day in and day out as we build our identity for the future.
So you went through the gauntlet of the SEC for many years now. You talk about South Carolina, A&M, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma. I mean, the list goes on and on of all
Yep.
the teams, and every team is pretty much great every year. What excites you about being at Florida now doing this compared to obviously Mississippi State, Georgia? We could even throw them in the mix too. I forgot about them.
Yeah, I mean, every team's, very, very good at
Right.
this point, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we joked it's like you get a result one week, one game, and you're trying to celebrate, that moment, and you're like, all right, who do we have next? And you're like, oh, here we go again, So it's either relief or excitement, but that next week you're going to have another challenge. And I think regardless whether you're at Mississippi State, Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, A&M, Arkansas, every team is unique.
Yeah.
Every team has a different style. They have a different identity. And so you have to prepare week in, week out differently for each team. And as a coach, those are the things that's the most exciting because that's how you grow. That's how you evolve. I understand strengths and weaknesses of teams that you play and you figure out ways to exploit them. So that's for us is the best thing is when we can talk football and we can watch film and then now how do we articulate that to the players where we go into the game, we feel like they're prepped for any scenario that we see, may arise, and seeing them problem solve. The cognitive piece is so important, right? You don't want to joystick the players. You want to, as a coach, go, let's sit back and see if they solve it, because ultimately it's the player's game. We can't call timeout, can't run Omaha as much as I would love to. We have to, ultimately, it's a player's game, and they're the ones that have to make the decisions on the field.
This has been a big topic, not just at University of Florida, but all around the country, is the support from the athletic department. Obviously, we both love soccer, men's, women's, whatever it may be. But, University of Florida is a football school and also a basketball school. Soccer is compared small potatoes to that. Not to be derogatory, but it is what it is. We got to be truthful to each other, Nick. The question is, how is the athletic department, you coming in and really being that coach that, I mean, you're getting me motivated just listening to you to jump through the freaking wall. But beyond that, how is the athletic department said they're going to support you, whether it's with scholarships or, I mean, the training facility there is, second to none. It's the best in the SSC for better or worse. But I mean, it's an incredible training facility. But what about the scholarships, the funding, all that stuff? Because that is a problem with lower sports in, big athletic departments that have that football and basketball.
Yeah, I mean, we live right now in a world that the landscape changes every single day.
Right.
NIL, rev share, just when you think you have a handle on it, they throw another
Yeah.
rule in, or they throw another rule out, right? The genie's out of the bottle, and there's no way
Yeah.
we can get this
Yeah.
back in the bottle, if you will. So, the support from the University of Florida and the administration, Scott Strickland and Amy Haas and Duke Warner, all these, the administration that I've had direct conflict or contact with early on has been, I mean, you can't ask for more support. They've been absolutely incredible. My oversight, Brian Flood, we have a vision, and there's alignment with that vision. And a lot of times that's where, most organizations fail, is when there's not alignment, right? When the expectations don't meet the commitment, or vice versa. And so, we couldn't be more thankful. We couldn't be more grateful for the commitment that they've shown us. And also, there's a want for sure to say, hey, how can we help you achieve the goals that you have? Because ultimately, that's the goals that we have here at the University of Florida, whether it's soccer, whether it's football, baseball, basketball. I mean, women's lacrosse is top five. Gymnastics
Right.
is, was one last week. Men's basketball is obviously Coach Golden's done a great job. I
Yeah.
mean, golf, every sport here
It's great.
seems
Yeah.
to have a standard and an expectation, and to be a part of that, administration, athletic department is really, really cool, and really, really neat. And it's a unique experience. So again, couldn't be more grateful, couldn't be more thankful for the commitment that they've shown, but also the willingness to help in any way.
Because again, a great soccer program from start to finish, with Becky Burley, really winning that championship in '98, and
Yep.
also many winning seasons with that as well. I want to end the interview with a few last questions, talking about the spring schedule, really loaded with quality opponents. National championship, Florida State, you're playing them. I believe it's at Florida State. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So
Yep.
that'll be an
Yep.
incredible game. 2024 NWSL champion Orlando Pride playing then. Tampa Bay Sun, and the Jacksonville team. They're both minor league women's soccer programs, and then obviously UNF. Did you load this up when you came in because you wanted to set a test to the freshmen, the transfers, and how they would all play together? And this is a type of schedule, Nick, that if they can be extremely successful against these teams, they really will be successful in that SEC those games
Yep.
beyond throughout the year. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I think that's, when I took the job, there was no spring schedule, so it was nice to have essentially a blank canvas. And so, I know the coaching staff at Orlando Pride, I know the coaching staff at Tampa Bay Sun, Sporting Jacksonville, right? Good friends with Coach Penske at Florida State. Same with Coach Eric at UNF, right? When I was at Columbus State, he was at Armstrong, Division two.
Right.
So,
Good. Yeah.
it was as simple as, hey, we want to play the best, and we're going to get punched in the mouth, and that's okay. We're excited for that. We have, in my opinion, arguably the hardest SEC schedule since I've been a part of the SEC in 8 years that we have here this next fall. So the message is we want to play the best. If we want to try and climb the mountain and we want to be the best, then we have to put ourselves in an environment where not only are we being challenged, but our weaknesses are getting exploited because you only have 5 opportunities in the spring to really test where you're at. And there's so many new players, there's new staff, there's a new system, it's a new identity. There's so many things that are new. And for us, it's we talked about at the beginning, right? Our first meeting was progress is winning. And our goal this spring is to continue to show progress every single day. The training session this morning, we spidio. So I watched it, then met with the staff after on a Zoom and did a debrief of how encouraging it was to see players that maybe struggled in yesterday's session because of the components we're asking of the cognitive, the tactical, the decision making, to them see them today start to understand and identify and have more success. So for us, this is an incredible opportunity. We don't look at it as okay, winning and losing. We're looking at it as, are we showing progress? Right now, progress is winning. And so we're always going to play the top teams that we can. I mean, Wake Forest needed a game in the fall. It ended up working out where we had the date open, and we're going to play Wake Forest in the fall. So we're going to play Florida State again in the fall. We have to go there to them, right? So we have to normalize playing elite teams as fast as possible, because ultimately our goal is to win and compete for national championships, and we have to be put in situations that really challenge us. I mean, we've got 11 male practice players, and they are terrific. This has been the best male practice player group that I've been a part of in terms of the quality and the athleticism and the problems that they create. And having them, even watching them today, there was 8 of them at training. The way that they press and the way that we want to play, it only enhances our development and it only challenges us. So we're pumped. We're excited. Moving forward, I only want to play teams that feel, one, that they're gonna compete at the highest level, but two, it challenges us. So we couldn't be more excited with our spring schedule.
Last question. I want to kind of run through this fast. Just a one-word answer, if you could.
I'll
Just
try.
so just so people can get to know you a little bit better, Nick. Just kind of fun questions. Favorite spot in Tampa?
Top golf.
Okay. And then your favorite music, movies, just throw some stuff at us as well for some
Oh
fun.
wow, yeah. I
I know
mean,
I'm throwing the tough ones
I
at you
know that's
now.
a good one though. I like EDM, like I like house music,
Okay.
like anything that's up tempo. And I get that people say Jersey Shore, Guido, I get it. But I mean, movies, anything with like Jason Bateman or Vince Vaughn, the Wedding Crashers,
Comedies. Okay.
Horrible Bosses, just those kinds of movies. But then also any kind of sports movies are great. Remember the Titans, Miracle.
Yeah.
And there's so many, but Dark Knight. I'm a big Batman guy, so.
Okay. Paulie D was from Johnston, so
Oh, I know. I get that a lot. I'm kind of trying to change my hair a little bit so I can go less Jersey, but it just still doesn't work.
last question. What is the baby girl's name?
Yeah,
You know a
Elizabeth
name,
Reese. Yeah,
Elizabeth
Elizabeth
Reese.
Reese. So Elizabeth is my wife's first name, and then Reese is her mom's maiden name. So I'll probably call her Reese or baby girl.
I'll
So
tell you what, Nick, you got me pumped up. For
well, I
it's been
appreciate
some
it.
really tough years for Gators soccer in the past 4-ish years. But bringing you in, I mean, it's really incredible. The enthusiasm you have. I think the player quality that you've brought in so far is, pristine. So grateful you're here to coach. I expect really big things this year from you, from the team in general. Last words for Gators fans, to get them more fired up.
Yeah.
Not that you haven't got us fired up already, but
Well, we're not done. We're not done adding. That I can promise you. We got quite a few coming that we're really
okay.
excited about as well for the fall. But yeah, I mean, I just want the Gator Nation to know as well. One, how grateful and thankful we are to be a part of this program, but also we're going to work tirelessly to make every single person proud that they support this group of young ladies, but also how we embody those core values, how we go out, how we perform, how we treat players, how we treat other people, how we treat the community. So we don't take this lightly. We are extremely grateful again for this opportunity. And again, Rome wasn't built in a day. Everyone's expecting like a national championship or bust. It's going to take time. But I can promise you, we're really excited about the challenge that we have ahead. But we're also running through a wall, excited to do it. So I appreciate you having me on. I love the energy that you have. I appreciate you and the support for UF athletics as a whole. And it's people like you and the love that you have that make it so much so enjoyable for us as a staff, because we want to make you guys and all those so proud.
Nick Zimmerman, again, Florida Gators women's soccer head coach here on the program. It is UFN Zimmerman on X, Nick Zimmerman 23 on Instagram. Nick, thanks so much for coming on. Greatly appreciate your time today.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me.